Hi everyone. It's the end of another week, and as you can probably see from my living room here, that the sun has decided to come out in England. So yay! Spring has officially arrived here. It's a good day to do a book review. Um, it's been an absolutely glorious weekend. Hopefully, I'm going to enjoy a bit more of the sun after I've finished doing this video. But at the moment, I want to talk to you about The City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is a reread. As I've said last week, I'm rereading the Mortal Instruments books, and this is second in the series. Now, of course, because it's a second in the series, and therefore it's a continuous storyline, I'm going to put up a spoiler warning here now, so that because obviously to be able to talk about this book, I need to talk about the ongoing story. So if you haven't read the books, then you're going to get spoiled if you watch this, I'm afraid. But to give you an overall, it's a continuing on from the previous book. Clary is still understanding the world that she's in, dealing with the aftermath of everything that happened in the previous book, stuff to do with Jace, the boy that she likes, her feelings about her best friend Simon, who has told her that he's in love with her, and understanding the fact that she is now a shadow hunter in the world that she's in, and being really worried about her mum. So yes, it's the continuation of all that. As a reread, I enjoyed it again. It was nice revisiting worlds, meeting characters again who haven't read about in a long time. That was really lovely. It had a very good pace to it. I have to say, I'm finding rereading now. I'm on the second book. I am finding the Mortal Instruments a heck of a lot more interesting than the prequels, and I don't know if it's to do with the pace, as I've said in my previous review, that the prequels, because it's 3 books, it feels like Cassandra Clare is very much cramming in the information, even though the bad guy story really should have been 2 books instead of 3, in my opinion. But because she's got 6 books for Mortal Instruments, it's spreading out. It feels even. It feels a good pace. So I have to say, yeah, rereading these again, thoroughly enjoying it. I'm finding I'm much preferring these than the prequels. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about the major story elements. So if you haven't read these books, stop the video now. Although of course I would love you to sit and watch the rest of this if you don't want to be spoiled. I understand if you want to stop right now. So first of all, I want to talk about Simon. Now, Simon, I always thought it a bit strange that Cassandra Clare decided to turn him into a vampire. Not just for, oh, what's this going to do with his relationship with Clary? Because in the second book they've started dating each other, and obviously it's how he feels about it, how he feels about her, and variety of aspects. But at the same time, it's like, you really need to have a point to this. There has to be some particular reason why you're doing it. I'm thinking later on, because I've read the other books, what's going to happen, especially in the last book. I do kind of feel like, was there actually a point to this? I don't know. I don't know if it was just a way for her to give Simon something to do. Because other than being the human who tags along with Clary and gets caught up in all of these situations, but because he's human, he can't really do much. I wonder if it was just a factor in regards to that it allowed Simon to be involved in other aspects of the story. I don't know, but that's what I was feeling, and rereading it. I can't help but feel that again, that I don't quite understand why she's decided to do that, but it's her book, her story, she can write what she likes. Now, the relationship between Jace and Clary is really quite interesting in this second book, as in the first book, for those of you obviously who've read it, you'll know that Jace and Clary have been told that they're brother and sister. We aren't told anything otherwise, so therefore we must believe that it's true. as the story goes on, it's you know, in the course of the 6 books, we do discover that obviously that's not true, but at this point we don't know anything different. They don't know anything different. So you know, it's implied it's true. And it's very interesting how, because that was kind of near the end of the first book, that they find this out in the big kind of ending battle kind of sequence of the book, so to speak. So this is they're kind of processing it and actually having to deal with it from the beginning of this second book. And I have to say, having reread it, I think she did very well with conveying the feelings that both of the characters are going through in this weird place that they're in, not understanding their emotions towards each other, because they really do, they love each other, they made out and everything, and then being told, oh, by the way, your brother and sister, and then have to deal with the aftermath. I think it was very well conveyed, and everything, and I find them a lot more of an interesting couple than other couples that, even in this series, even though I do love all the other couples, don't get me wrong, I love them all, but I find Jace and Clary especially interesting, and the way in which they deal with their situations particularly. Especially, like, I keep on, I can't help but compare the Mortal Instruments to the prequels, which were written after, I think, the 4th Mortal Instrument book had been published. And I think it's probably because, as I've said in my previous review, that you can clearly see that Cassandra Clare wrote the prequels later than the Mortal Instruments, because her writing style is significantly different. In the Mortal Instruments compared to the prequels. The prequels are a lot darker, and there's a lot heavier of descriptions and use of words and such that she does. And she's got developed a structure by then, which she really focuses on in the prequels. And so to have a book that's a bit lighter in a sense, and doesn't solely focus on just this, which boy should I pick, and what, Will or Jem. It has a lot more depth to it, I think, the Mortal Instruments, in regards to emotions of characters and everything. So I have to say I'm really quite impressed the second time round reading Clary and Jace's relationship, their the weird situation that they're in, and how they're dealing with it, both together and obviously with other people around them and everything. The relationship that has developed in this book, which I absolutely adore, is Magnus and Alec. I think they're absolutely brilliant couple to have, and they've started dating in this book. And I find it very interesting also that there is this aspect of Shadowhunters that you can't be gay at all. It's really not good. It's not accepted. And also, there was another aspect to this book that I completely forgotten about, where it said that if you're a shadow hunter and you kill yourself, you are kind of outcasted in death, in regards to that when a shadow hunter dies, their bones they're cremated, and their bones are put into like the walls and such of the silent city, so you become part of the city. It's and there are generation after generations of family vaults, where pillars of certain families, their remains are, and it's a very important thing. And if you kill yourself, you are outcasted, and your remains get put into like a kind of a mass pit area, a mass grave, as it were. You're not allowed to be in the silent city. You cannot lay to rest with your family and such. You're completely outcasted. And it's like, wow, there were these really strong social aspects of this story that I completely forgotten about. And I find it, I love, and I said this when I picked Mortal Instruments out of the jar and everything, to read, that I love that this book series has a relationship that is a really complex, beautiful, lovely relationship, and it's between a man, well, Shadowhunter, should I say, and another man who's a warlock. You know, and the warlock is a minority. He's Asian, and so you don't get that in other stories, and I love that she's got these kind of set rules, as it were, that the Shadowhunters have to follow, and she's got these characters and these moments where it's pushing those boundaries or completely breaking those laws, because it's current, it's what the society reflects. I mean, kind of the same with our society, because you could say it's kind of Christian values, and then you've got this gay couple in the centre of it, who the law says no, shouldn't be happening, but the heart says yes. I'm finding it very interesting, connecting, the social sides of our society to this world, this fantasy world, and how it's very compelling. It is definitely. Valentine, of course, in the books has still been absolutely, excuse my language, bastard. It's, he's the bad guy of the piece, so he's going to be horrible. But we also met some other interesting characters, like the Inquisitor, who has noticed something about Jace that will come into play in later books. As I said, I've read them, I'm rereading these books. And what that will mean for everybody. I'm kind of, I'm loving Luke. Again, Luke's my favourite character in the Mortal Instruments series, hands down. I absolutely love him. I find it very interesting rereading him again, and remembering, rereading details I'd forgotten about him, especially his love for Jocelyn. How I completely forgot how, when they ran off together when she was pregnant with Clary, he asked her to marry her, and the whole thing about how he could, protecting her and Clary, and it's what he had to do, and it really shows what a wonderful, wonderful person Luke is, and no matter what he is, should I say, because he's a werewolf, or who he is, where he is, he will do anything for Clary and Jocelyn, and that is a really lovely trait to have. A really wonderful man. He's not her father, but he is her father. She says that so many times, especially in this book, that he's not her dad, but he is and always will be, and that's brilliant. I love that. And so, yes, I've enjoyed rereading it. It's been a good week, so everything's good and the sun is out. Yay! Spring has arrived at last. So I see that as a good sign on going on to the next week. So as usual, I'll make another video announcing the next book, and I'll be reading. And I've also got a couple of videos planned that I'm going to hopefully record today and upload either today or early next week or something. So yeah, I will be back soon.